गुड मॉर्निंग अविनाश जी। हेलो। ऑनलाइन तो है बट आई थिंक ही इज नॉट। आप अनम्यूट हैं या आप म्यूट पे।
हाँ, अभी अभी है, रेडी है। हाँ।
हाँ ठीक है।
हम्म,
तो आज हम लोग
हाँ।
ज्यादा लोग नहीं है अभी। आज से हम दो तीन लोग ही हैं।
दो तीन ही है क्या आज?
आज पता नहीं क्यों लगता है लोगों को शायद ये मालूम नहीं है। लास्ट टाइम तो 12 लोग थे। हाँ।
हाँ, लास्ट टाइम मैं उधर था और बाकी 11 उधर ऑनलाइन थे।
हाँ। और आज आप ऑनलाइन है और नायडू जी इधर हैं। नायडू जी आए।
अच्छा अच्छा। हाँ
कौस्तुभ जी भी अभी बैठे हैं। अभी
हाँ
देखते हैं और कोई आएगा तो ठीक है। तो मेरे ख्याल से मैं आज वो उस पर डिस्कशन कर लेता हूँ। हम जब दो ही तीन लोग हैं कि वो अडयार और कृष्णामूर्ति फाउंडेशन के एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में बात कर लेते हैं।
हाँ, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात
कि
नहीं,
मैं
नो
आज
प्रॉब्लम।
दो टॉपिक पे बात करना चाह रहा था। फियर पे मैंने सोचा फियर एक बड़ा अच्छा इंटरेस्टिंग सब्जेक्ट है बिकॉज।
हाँ हाँ।
चलो शीतल जी आ गई। गुड मॉर्निंग
अरे
शीतल।
वाह।
गुड मॉर्निंग शीतल जी। सो मैं सोच रहा था कि आज ज्यादा लोग नहीं है तो अडयार और उसके ऊपर बात कर लेते हैं। मैं जब
हाँ हाँ, ठीक है, ठीक है।
और मेरा प्लान तो था कि उस पे बात करेंगे माइंड पे और फियर पे। और एक और कोई सब्जेक्ट था मैं भूल गया। तो मैं फियर पे आज बात करना की सोच रहा था बिकॉज फियर बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सब्जेक्ट है। वो हमारे को कॉन्स्टेंटली परेशान करता रहता है। तो फियर इज समथिंग बट बिकॉज देयर इज नॉट people have not yet joined, so we I can just start talking about my experience in Chennai, 2 weeks in Adyar and 1 week in Krishnamurti Foundation. And also, I'm going to Krishnamurti Foundation in Pune on Monday for 3 days. So I will come back more experienced. Then I can share that also. So I have decided. So you can imagine my trip to Adyar has been so inspiring that I could not wait to go to Krishnamurti. हाँ, हो रहा है. So I could not wait to go to the Krishnamurti Foundation in Pune also when it is there. So you can go all the way to Chennai and Varanasi, but we don't go to our own center which is nearby. So that's what. So Adyar is. I don't know who all have been to Adyar, but I think I would say that we should. We all Theosophists should definitely visit Adyar and Krishnamurti Foundation. Good morning, Maruti ji.
Good morning.
Maruti ji, we are just 4 5 people here, so I thought I will start with my experience sharing about Adyar and Krishnamurti Foundation. And if more
वेरी
people
गुड।
join, हाँ जी,
जरूर कीजिए सर,
जी जी
वेरी गुड, कीजिए जरूर कीजिए।
जी जी. So I was talking that I was saying that we once in lifetime we should definitely visit Adyar and Krishnamurti Foundation. And when I joined Theosophy, a few in August, July, August, I think, and my immediate desire was to go to Adyar. That was my immediate motive that I've joined Theosophy, but I should straight away go to Adyar and experience that because that's where the founders lived, and there's a very different vibration of those places. So what I found, I'm not sure who all must have been to Adyar, but definitely. Uh, but my 2 weeks in Adyar, though I was attending a program which was full day program. It was 9 to 12 in the morning, Mahatma letters, and 3 to 5 in 4:30 in the evening. So it was a very exhausting program, I would say, and because there was a lot of reading, and sometimes it can be very boring also. Sometimes it is interesting when there is an exchange, interaction. Sometimes you don't get the answers from the speaker. So that leads to disengagement of the audience, and gradually the interest goes down. And when there is no response from the audience, then the speaker also loses interest. So that was in short which happened in that 10 days lecture, letter reading of the letters and also explaining. So that's from the lecture perspective. But what was very inspiring, what was great about that place is the place has a very different vibration. And if you go there, you can do a very good sadhana there. It's an excellent place for spiritual sadhana, and it's also an excellent place for engaging in spiritual discussions with the people who are coming there. The the people who live there, like if you talk to International Secretary Maria, or if you talk to other members, volunteers who are living there, so you can have interesting conversations also. So you are cut off from the world, you are not involved in worldly conversations, and you are constantly engaged in at whatever opportunity, whenever there is an opportunity, when you meet over meals, you engage in those kind of conversation. But the place has a very great aura. It completely cuts you off. It removes all your distractions. You can be in your room and you need not go out. You don't feel like going anywhere. You can do a lot of self-inquiry there. So it's a very good place for sadhana, I would say. Why I'm saying that it is a good place for sadhana, I'm not saying just like that. I've traveled a lot in the Himalayas, in many places in Narmada. But this place has got it's very special, I would say. And a lot of people may say, why he's saying like that? You know, the Himalayas has got some wonderful places. But Himalayas is, it may not be suitable for a long stay everywhere. And somewhere it will be very expensive also. Somewhere the environment will not, somewhere the environment will not be very favorable to you. So there are many challenges in the Himalayas. But this place has been crafted, designed, conceived with a very great vision and has been created. So it's in the nature. It's in a kind of a forest. So it has been basically designed with a with a non-ritualistic, purely with a philosophical goal. And that's why it is very ideal for spiritual sadhana there. Because in Himalayas, you may have many challenges. If you go and stay in ashram for a long time, then there can be many challenges there. The food may not be ideal. The people may not be ideal for you. The routine may not be suitable to you. So there can be many challenges because I have lived in many ashrams in the Himalayas, in many places. So I'm speaking from that. But this is all my personal experience. It may not be uh, correct for everyone. People with different experience will probably may understand it differently. But I'm just sharing my own experience, and that cannot be generalized. Maybe if you try it, you will probably understand. Now I'll come to Krishnamurti Foundation. After 2 weeks in Adyar, I went to Krishnamurti Foundation, and I will be very frank and fair. I don't want to be diplomatic or hypocrisy. Krishnamurti Foundation was leagues above Adyar. It was the environment and the whole system was even more deeper, for deeper thinking. It made you more, it made you go inside even more. And the facilities are excellent. I would say it was like a 3-star stay, very reasonable. 750 rupees they take, including, I mean, yesterday I was telling somebody the kind of food it was. So he said, this is VIP food. The food is excellent. Food is like better than your home food, I would say. And the place is very well maintained. And there is so much silence. Silence is there in Adyar also. Silence is there in Krishnamurti. But there is a difference in the silence in both the places. And the people who are there, just 4 or 5 people in Krishnamurti Foundation, they engage in conversations with you. The only activity which happens in Krishnamurti Foundation is that at 11 o'clock in the morning, they play one video of Krishnamurti. You can come and watch it. Then you can engage in discussion with people there whenever you want. If you come across somebody within the people who are there, when we have meals, during the meals, there are very in-depth discussions which happen. And after the meals, people sit on the dining table maybe for even 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and they engage in discussions. So intellectual discussions are engaged. Some of the discussions are touching upon Krishnamurti Foundation. The trustee, Mr. K.K. Krishnamurti, who lives there, he worked with Krishnamurti, Jiddu Krishnamurti, and he talks about his teachings. We engage in very fearful discussions. I countered a lot of things about his thinking. So it was a very open discussion, questioning each other. And the collection of books is very nice. The library is very nice. The library is very, very open. Adyar library is huge. But I found this library much more different. The vibrations were very different. The vibration of the each and every corner of that foundation was very, very different. And because I lived in both the places, I could really feel that difference. It was not very minimal, but it was remarkably different. So I would really strongly recommend that one should visit there and spend at least a week in both the places and see. Like if I have to go again, I'm already looking forward to go again to these places. So that's about my thing. Anything you want to ask about these two places, you can ask me. You may have a question on this probably. Then we can start with our discussion because now there are 5, 6 people. We can continue with the subject. So if there is no question about this, we can go to the subject. So today I was thinking of talking about mind, but a lot of people from the previous last class are not here. So I thought there's another word I picked up for today's discussion was fear. Because fear is something which is actually constantly is a constant companion of ours. We always have fear. And fear leads to constant discomfort in our mind. So where is the fear coming from? Fear, डर. हमें कॉन्स्टेंटली किसी चीज का डर रहता है. हाँ जी, मारुति जी आप कुछ बोले? मारुति जी आप कुछ बोले?
मन में ही तो डर पैदा होता है.
हाँ जी, हाँ. तो वही, तो जो डर हमारे मन में जो पैदा होता है, अब वो हमारे दिमाग का क्या हाल करता है. तो अभी अभी तक वी हैव ऑलरेडी रियलाइज्ड in the last sessions that how the thoughts are coming. I'm sure now in these sessions we are clear how the thoughts are coming. Now we know the sources of thought. So now we are only discussing one by one all those trigger points, that should we be fearless or why are we not fearless? Why are we having fears? तो fears पहले क्या करते हैं, इस पे ही हम अगर सोचना शुरू करें, then we will come to know कि being afraid of anything is actually of no point. It is not good to be afraid. अब उसके बाद फिर we'll go one step backward to see fear, what fear does and why fear is coming. वो एक अलग स्टेप है. तो पहले fear क्या करता है, इस पे कुछ एनालिसिस करना जरूरी है. Because when we will do an analysis about what is fear doing, and then we will realize that what fear is doing is actually creating the most complicated problems in our life. And broadly, there are two kinds of fear. One is fear of losing what we have. So we are always thinking in future and we are afraid that we might lose something. Something might happen to us, especially most of the people till 40, 45 or at the most 50 are not bothered about health issues. After 40, health issues start coming in. Till the time we are 40, health is not a concern really. Even if something happens, we consider it as a transient event and we still ignore it because we are more confident about our body that it doesn't need that much attention and care. But when we cross 50, so it's applicable to most of us here, that becomes a major concern for us, how to remain healthy in our old age, mentally and physically both. So because of physical issues, health issues, we also develop mental issues. And it is vice versa, because sometimes we have a fear and that leads to physical issue. Sometimes some physical thing happens due to even the physical issue also happens actually from mental issue only. All these hypertension, diabetes, cancer, if you really see, they are all the product of mind only. So that's why we are talking about fear. What can fear create in the mind, and how will then mind act on the body, and how this circle will get completed, and where how we will be now impacted due to our triggering of fear, mentally and physically both. Because when there is a overthinking, that leads to stress. So we use these words, stress, and that leads to diabetes, that leads to hypertension. Because hypertension is, I also have hypertension. I've been eating medicine for the last 20 years. But since I changed my way of thinking, I that my brain doesn't create that much of nonsense in my mind. So that way I have now controlled. But uh, how the mind generates these diseases, if you really see, extreme fear, extreme insecurity leads to further disease, because all these thoughts which are getting generated due to various tendencies we have, fear is one of the things which we are discussing. Ultimately, if you really understand, if you will probably agree or not, I don't know, but almost all the diseases, apart from physical hurt or accident, are triggered by the mind only. Because when we are generating a force through our worries, that force acts on our body. We are not aware where it is acting. So which organ it will go and act, where it will create a imbalance, where it will that force will land up in which organ, which system, that system will start malfunctioning, because that is an unwanted force, which is now, because the thought is a command. You have to understand a little scientifically, the thought which is being produced is a force, because it is a source of energy. It is the output of another source of energy, which is a signal from the sensory organ. So that electric force is converting into another force, which is now going to act based on what kind of force has been converted. If it is an unwanted force, it is going to act negative force. It is going to act on our body. It also acts on others. If somebody reacts, if you create a thought and you suppose utter some word, then other person will react. So that energy which has been created with that particular thought has a field which can influence others. If it is converted into speech and action, if it is not converted into speech and action, it may still convert into a body language, and that body language also causes reaction. So when we do face reading, body language of a person, even if that person is not speaking or acting, but it can still influence, it can still make others react. So these are the outcomes of that kind of force. So now we are only worried about what is the influence of that force on our own body. So that's why we have to really understand it scientifically, that all these thoughts are actually causing harm to us only. It is not just a simple worry, but it is impacting our body also, various organs. So once we know this, then we have to see that why is that thought coming? Why I'm afraid of dying? Why I'm afraid of falling sick? Now, because of this particular fear also, fear of falling sick, we have attachment to the body. We have a great attachment. We have also our ability to take pain is also not there. How much endurance do we have? How much pain can we tolerate? What tolerance? What endurance? Where is it endurance? Where is it tolerance? If we have a larger endurance to go through the pain, if we have acceptance, if that pain will come, if we have tolerance and we have acceptance, we understand karma, law of karma, we understand destiny. If all that awareness is there in our mind, then we will think very differently, that fear will reduce. And then let the body go through that. Your soul is different. We come to theosophy, we talk about soul, we talk about causal body, we talk about cause and effect. Cause and effect is what? It's law of karma. So whatever is a cause, there is an effect. So remove that cause. So simple. But how to remove the cause? We have to understand that this cause is happening due to my certain conditioning, and this cause is having this effect. So thought is just cause and effect. So we use different words, but we don't go deep into those words to understand how those words are affecting us. So fear of death is not very immediate fear, I would say. But before the death, fear of death, there are many fear that I have this disease, I am having this problem, I might have this problem. If you are flying and the plane goes to turbulence, you get afraid. The plane will crash. What will happen? Only one thing will happen. 99% we will die. Moksha ho jayega. The moksha, is it? Then why are we eager to live? What is the reason to continue living? Naidu ji. Naidu ji wants to say something.
This fear is because others are not supporting your thoughts and your action.
That is expectation.
That is also one kind of fear.
That we'll come to that also. But I'm talking about fear due to illness and death. I'm talking about this particular fear. Fear is due to many things. Fear is due to something not happening, somebody not behaving in a certain way. Fear of, past. Some past fears are also there. Why this happened? This can happen again. So there is a pattern that this happened, so this may happen again.
Karma is also a factor.
So karma is a major factor. So if we understand karma, destiny, if we understand this body is just a body, if we don't have the fear of death, when we know that we will go, like, why do we see death as a problem? If anybody asks me, how are you? My standard answer automatically comes, I am alive. And then people say, come on, talk, why are you so negative? So how people think by saying, I'm fine, we have become so mechanized, I'm fine. What do you mean by fine? We don't even know the definition of fine. So we are so formal in our engagements, in our transactions. So this fear of not being healthy, what the body will do, what will happen?
We are trying to please others.
Ultimately, we are so attached to our body. We have not understood we have not done self-inspection, analysis about our soul. We have not distinguished our soul from the body. We have not understood the mortality of the body and the immortality of the soul, and our being a soul. And if you look more scientifically, you will realize we are a machine. And when you start becoming more aware that we are nothing but we are machine, all the identity we have is because of our ego. How many times we question ourselves that who we are? Do we really question that who we are? If we have this question every day and try to think for half an hour, you will start getting the answers. And then these fears will go away. Because when you remove that identity, when we remove our social identity, who we are, and what is a social identity? This is my house. Tomorrow I'll sleep. I want to have a nice sleep. Desires. So we have desires. We still have so many desires at 60, 70, 80 that my child should do this, my son should do this, my wife should do this, my husband should do this. And somebody at 70 is also planning to buy an apartment, or somebody is planning to buy an apartment for the child. So we are still calculating materialistically, though our responsibility of towards the family actually gets over by 50, 60. But we are still thinking why somebody is behaving like this, why somebody is not doing this. And then those fears comes. What will happen if my daughter does this? What will happen if my son does this? So we are thinking about others' life and forgetting about our own life. And then slowly we get into a controlling mode. We've now become a controller, and we are trying to control everybody else through our expectation. And parallelly, a fear starts coming. What will happen if my child does this? What will happen if my child does not succeed? I want my child to become a doctor. My child is trying to not studying. My child is not doing this. My mother is not doing this. My husband is not doing this. My husband should earn more. My wife should do this. We have constant expectation. We are surrounded by only that. And we lose focus from our own karma. If I am 60-year-old, there should be no karma towards my family. I am turning 59 on Sunday. Most of my 99% of my karma is towards society now. I have no karma towards my family. Only if there is some crisis, my daughter needs me or anybody needs me, then probably I will see if I'm needed. Then only I'll go there for my family. But my objective, my reason for existing on this planet now, I feel, is only for the society. It's not, there's nothing for myself also. I'm only trying to keep my body fit, and whatever I'm doing now is only towards the society. Whether I've written books, that's for a social cause. Whether I am coming and participating in Theosophy or Krishnamurti Foundation, that's also for my own growth, for my soul journey, and also for others. Or if I am organizing some events in my society. So whatever I'm trying to do, there's only thing left is, because one should free from all these materialistic clutches, bondages, and we should allow people their freedom to live their destiny. Because our time to inspire, guide, groom, bring up is over. Like when a person goes to play a match of cricket, suppose a test match, there are 2 innings. When the inning is over, the game is over. Your time is done. The aircraft which is taking off has a limited time to take off. Once the aircraft is taken off, it is out of the runway. We are also on a runway. We have a time frame here on this planet. And in that time frame, within that time frame, there are different time zones according to which we have certain tasks. We can't be still doing something which was 30 years back. So at this age, we have a certain task. So there are various tasks which are there, which are mapped to a timeline based on our different, age. But if we are trying to control our family, if we are trying to control our people around us at the age of 60, 70, then definitely there'll be problem, because this world is not perfect. And we forget this. We stop being aware about the fact this world is not perfect. We forget that we are living in Kali Yuga. But we can only set an example. The only thing any individual can do is set an example by their own conduct, by their thoughts. And that is where the journey of the soul comes into play. And the disconnection with the body happens. And then you are not afraid about the body. And then comes the endurance, ability to withstand pain. And pain, one should not be worried about pain. We look for material pleasures. So the material suffering will also come. And if you stop looking for material pleasures, even the suffering will not bother you, because you have stopped looking. And when you stop looking from the external world or even for your body, then you start ignoring these things, because you're not desiring anything, any pleasure from the material world. Especially when we are in 50s, 60s, 70s, the desire for any material pleasure should actually go away. And then the suffering will also not harm you so much. Discomfort can come. There is a physical problem, there can be a discomfort. But again, then if you really go to the karma, like I am having kidney stone for last, I think 2 months. In Adyar, I had a kidney stone pain. For 2 hours, I was in severe pain. Only thing, I was just uncomfortable. I was just walking around in the room and I was doing ooh ah because of pain. After 2 hours, the pain went away. Doctor came. There's a resident doctor in Adyar campus. She came, gave one injection. By that time, the pain had gone. Today, it has come again. So I was not sure whether I should come. I was expecting that pain might shoot up, but I still came. Somebody would have gone to the hospital, but I came for the class. And with God's grace, now the pain has gone down while I'm talking. So, but I'm thinking for last 10 days, I will go get a scan done, because the doctors told if it doesn't go, get a scan done, go for lithotripsy. So I'm ignoring it. Maybe, the pain comes for 2 hours. After that, it goes away. So it's okay. You can bear the pain. I know it is very uncomfortable, but if you start accepting, your perception change. That fear of that pain is gone away. Only thing I know there will be a discomfort for some time, and finally probably I will go and get it treated through lithotripsy. But it is not really bothering me. I'm not afraid of that pain. So I have changed the way I'm looking at any discomfort. And because we just don't want any discomfort. So we have become lazy. So how lazy are we? How much effort we are putting for the our maintenance of our body. Yesterday, I posted in my society's group that God has made us, we are the mechanic of our own body. And when there is a problem, then we only can act on our body, mind and body. So there is nobody else who can do. How much of I as a mechanic is working on my body? And what does comfort do? Why do we need comfort? What is comfort? That's another thing to be thought of, because when we are talking of fear, we become so used to comfort that we are also afraid of losing that comfort zone. Like I was in Vrindavan working as in charge of a hospital. And after that 1 year of job, I was thinking, should I go and live in the Himalayas? I have only this much money, because if I stop working, I will have only this much money, because I have a problem with my wife and she's taken away all my finances. So I was living on very limited money. I will tell you, I was living on 10,000 rupees. I would have only 10,000 rupees that time. So I said, should I go? So that fear was constantly there to take that plunge, whether I can go and live with 10,000 rupees. So somebody who's on a salary of couple of lakhs, and he has to now change to live on 10,000 rupees a month in somewhere in the Himalayas, maybe somewhere in the forest. There are so many fears. Where will I get food? Where will I live? Unknown totally. Then one fine day, that was month of August, that fear went away suddenly, because I was doing a lot of contemplation. I said, because I had done a lot of analysis through observation. And if you see Krishnamurti's video I was watching there, he says, he said something very beautiful, that observe a lot. And this is something which I also told, that observe a lot. In fact, I have written in my book the whole process. The process of self-inquiry starts with observation. And what Krishnamurti ji told, that we don't do analysis, do observation. Because what he told was a very catchy point. That moment we see something, we start observing, analyzing, and we create an image. So he was talking about image, and before the image, he was telling that we are analyzing. So what I would reinterpret his word, that analyzing was actually judgment. We start quickly judging and analyzing things rather than observing. So scientifically, if you observe, you are collecting data. When you're observing something, you are collecting data, and after enough data is collected, then one should go into analysis. That was his actually what he must be trying to say. What we do is we quickly jump to judgment, but we don't collect the data, we don't think, we don't pause, we don't analyze, but we react. What analysis is that we are reacting. So this fear was there, and I was analyzing for a lot of time, that how to analyze, how to why I'm afraid, what can happen. These yogis go, they have nothing, they go with one jhola. Why can't I do that? I did a lot of study how these sadhus go with one jhola, what background they're coming, why they go like that, why can't I go? So we can't be seeing something and doing it. So a lot of people take impulsive decisions. I have, वो कहते हैं ना, फूंक फूंक के पाँव रख के मैंने जाके देखा है, because lot of people who take impulsive decisions, they get frustrated and they get distraught. उनकी बड़ी बुरी हालत होती है. So I've done a study on sadhus, what background they are coming from, and then if you see some people who are from a very highly intellectual background, some scientist, some great person, one lady in Gangotri living there, Lalita Mataji. She was the principal of a Vivekanand school, very learned lady. Father was a judge. She lived in America also. For last 25 years, she is living ahead of Gangotri. So there are some people who are very intellectual. How they have come, you should see from them. We get influenced by what images there in Kumbh Mela or this. But if you really see the background of the people, how we have to do a lot of study to take those kind of decisions. So when I was actually taking this decision to take this plunge and go and live in the forest near Devrayag, where somebody was calling me, that fear was constantly there with me. Can I do it? And one fine day, that fear suddenly went away. And then I went there. And I went there and I lived. It was one of my best moments of my life, those 3 months. If I wish, I will immediately go there. Life with no chains, no attachment, living in the nature. Nature makes you. So I'll come back to Adyar. I was talking about Adyar and Krishnamurti Foundation. These two places are so beautiful. Somehow they just disconnect you from the external world. And they do it so easily, you just don't realize. I have no words to explain, especially Krishnamurti Foundation in Chennai, that how beautiful it was, how it disconnected me from the entire world. It took me so deep inside that I actually did not want to come back from there. So I told the trustee there that I actually don't want to go now, but I have to go because I have commitments back home. So fear is coming back to fear. I don't want to diverge from the topic. So we have to see how many fears are bothering us, and parallelly we have to see the world, how the world is running. Are we the benchmark, or what is the benchmark? Is Ambani my benchmark, or is my neighbor is a benchmark? Who's the benchmark? Did God not create us to live in the same way? But we have discriminated. We come to theosophy, but there is an inherent discrimination in our existence. If you look at discrimination very deeply, there is an inherent discrimination in our own existence. And we don't really, if go deeper, what should be the existence like? What did God create us to live like? Where have we come actually now? How are we living? Where are we living? And what is all that doing to us? All this so-called technological advancement, so-called all these so-called comfort without really understanding the impact of comfort. Now we say modern. We use these words. How these words have been used to brainwash us. We have been brainwashed by the capitalist. Products are sold saying that discomfort. And what has happened by using a washing machine? Has it benefited you? Have you ever asked this question? I wash my own clothes. I wash even in Krishnamurti Foundation, there was a washing machine. People were washing there. Every day I used to wash my clothes, whether it is jeans. I wash my clothes, I press my clothes, I clean my house, I cook my food. I do everything. And I remain more fit. So the point is, have you ever asked this question that why are we seeking that comfort? Why did we start using washing machine? What have those machines done to us? Why don't I walk where I can? What happens when you drive a car on Poona Road? Suppose you have to go 2 kilometers and weather is good. You have a choice to go by car or walk, which is beneficial actually. Who asked this question? Who's asking this question? And so we come to Theosophy, we listen to so many books from our founders. I really don't know, do we really understand them or do we bring it in our life? Are we all hypocrites here? Seriously, we are all hypocrites, no? What we are following, what we are listening, if we are not bringing it to our life, then we are a failure. No, we are failing. We are putting a lot of time, but we are not making that effort. So we have this inertia. Now, what is inertia? That's another interesting word. So till the time we have this inertia, till the time we are in a conflict, In fact, Krishnamurti only talks about conflict. His three most common use in most of the lectures I have found was conflict, relationship, and analysis, observation. These are the most common things which I felt was there. So this conflict is there, and this is an unknown conflict. We have created an unknown conflict in our life, and these conflicts in subconsciously are creating fear in our mind. So this is even more deeper. There is something consciously we can trace the fears which are there, and there are some conflicts which are creating fear we are not even aware of, because we have not understood what is comfort and what is comfort doing to us. We never question if I walk 2 kilometers or I go by car. Today, with so much of technology, we are short of time. And then we give that excuse, no, I don't have time. 30 years back, we used to go to bank, stand in a queue to withdraw cash. Today, we do at a click of a button, the transaction. But still, we don't have time. Why? Why we don't have time? How much time people are spending on social media? None of us have realized that how much time we spend on the social media and how these narratives are created to brainwash who runs this whole nation, whole planet. Capitalist. They influence, they want to, they are greedy, power hungry. So they are sitting on the top. Below them is, if I talk about India, spiritual leaders, politicians. Spiritual leader and politician are their puppets. Through them, they brainwash the masses. Politicians use spiritual leaders use politician, and ultimately both are used by the capitalist, industrialist, and they are together brainwashing and manipulating the society. So they create this narrative and we don't realize how the system is working. Now, irrespective of whoever is there, somebody creates a narrative, digital India. I should say hunger-free India, but digital India. To make hunger-free India, you give free ration. And you give free digital. But what has this digital done? If suppose you don't have a phone, you can't live or what? What is the main purpose of, what is the main usage of phone with us today? Mostly everybody is using WhatsApp. Chatting. And today, all the physical connections, physical interactions between families have all died down. So it's a death of the society for a benefit of few people who are controlling. So the general mass, yesterday I was calculating how much money we spend on technology for our survival, how much dependence we have created. So we have that fear also. If my washing machine doesn't work, if my maid servant doesn't come, 2 days back I saw a message on the group in my society, I urgently need a maid. Now, what is the urgency to need a maid? You don't have hands and legs. So the problem is people are so dependent on this that we have a fear of not having that, not having a maid. If the maid will not come, if the washing machine will not work, if the electricity will go, if this will go, we are like automated our mind that if anything doesn't happen, all these chains with which we are tied, there is a fear. So there is a fear of expectation from people not behaving. There is a fear of the whole ecosystem not being functional, somewhere car not working. If this is not working, I will not go. If the car is not there, I will not go on a two-wheeler. A lot of people have this problem. I will not do this. Only this way. It's only this way. Only this way. This way. So I've defined my life with some 100 benchmarks, and anything goes down, it leads to a problem. And there is also constant fear. If ये नहीं चलेगा, वो नहीं होगा, ये नहीं होगा, वो नहीं होगा, there's a constant fear. So there are so many people who have tied so many chains, and all those chains are creating fear constantly, subconsciously. And if you, because I am also worried, but this is my identity. And I've come across many people, and I'm surprised what level they are. Someone said in Adyar only, I have my own identity. Now you are sitting in a spiritual place, philosophical place, and you're saying, I have my own identity. What is your identity? Where is your true identity? So you're talking about a social identity. That means you have an ego and you want to have your own identity. Now you will try to maintain that identity. But what is that identity? Should my identity be with my thoughts or anything else? Why should there be anything else? So I've gone through a radical change in my lifestyle, in my everything, and see how people react. But it doesn't matter to me because people identify you with social identity. If you are in a problem, you see everybody running away. If you are going and distributing gifts, everybody is coming and dancing around you. The day you stop, that whole dance stops and you are at peace. Neither you have any expectation, nor they will have any expectation. So their expectation is also gone. They've said, this guy has gone on a different path. We are all in a parade. He's marching in a different direction. We are in a different direction, so leave him. So that chaos has actually left you. And you are happy now because nobody is bothering you. Nobody calls you and tells you, gives you advice.
Nothing is rational.
So all the conversations which we have are all gossips. Most of the conversations which we have are all gossips. You want somebody should call you. Now you are waiting to talk to somebody. When somebody, finally you get into a conversation, it turns into a gossip. You are criticizing someone, they are criticizing someone, then you have a problem, he's giving you advice. Then he'll tell you did not do like this, you did not do like this. Then that person will start criticizing you. Or together you will criticize third person or maybe fourth person. So this is a very negative kind of engagement. So you are constantly intentionally generating negative thought against somebody else. So we are constantly practicing discrimination.
Can you say there is no rationalism?
In fact, Krishnamurti used a very nice word, insanity. There's a extreme insanity. And today morning, I saw an interesting video before coming. I was just getting ready and I've shared it in my group also. It's about stupidity. There is extreme stupidity in the society, which is more dangerous than the criminals, which is more dangerous than crime. And I really liked that. I said, wow, very interesting observation that stupidity is more dangerous than crime. Somebody posted a few days back something about Trump. I'm not saying that I'm pro Trump because that is not the point of discussion, but he said 90% of the people will understand it. So, you know what I replied with? What percentage of people are fools in the globe? So now he's trying to justify that somebody 90% will go with this understanding. And then I told him what percentage of people are fools in the world. So he had no answer. So we should not have actually political discussion, but try to understand politics. Try to understand the motives of politicians. Try to understand this capitalism, brainwashing, understand these word comforts. What is leading to fear in our life? Why, where it is coming from? Is it a social construct? Where is it social construct coming from? Have we been all told to chase money? Why we were told to chase money? Is the money giving happiness? How much money is needed? Are we afraid? We have a fear of not having enough money. So I went through this experiment of how much money is needed. And my wife helped me in this experiment by taking away all the money. And I was still very confident. And people say you are not allowed by. I said, no, this is a test. We go through these tests and how you succeed when you get a pain, when you get a health problem, and when you suppose have a financial issue. I mean, these issues are also self-created, no? Why should I have a financial issue? Why should I call it a financial issue? Life is about adopting. I'm not flexible. Is life a constant? The social standing, financial standing, health, everything goes through a chain. We forget all these facts because of lack of awareness. Our awareness is where external, not internal. So what is internal? Internal is that we have to constantly think. And as I started this discussion, that if you go to places like Krishnamurti Foundation, Adyar, and I'm going on 10, see how motivated I am that moment I came back, I wanted to go to foundation in Rajguru Nagar. And last week I was talking to Vastubji that why we have such a nice place here in Pune, this lodge, which has got enough rooms. Why don't we utilize this place for residential retreats? Why can't we improve this place where people, at least 3-4 people can come and engage in more conversation? In fact, I can also stay here. But we have a place. How can we improve it to provide that, give back to the members, make it more active, make it more deeper into a discussion? So, like I organized one lecture of introduction to theosophy in my society. Yesterday, day before, I spoke to another society with 400 families, and I've given them a list of lectures. So I'm trying to push this theosophy teachings, Krishnamurti's teaching, into my into the society also, because as I said, socially I am socially available, so I'm also trying to do that. And if whatever resource we have, we can do something for the society. Slowly we'll bring the change. And we are going through they say yug parivartan. So there is a spiritual awakening which is happening, and spiritual awakening will not happen until unless we go through these challenges. Without the challenges, we will not try to understand the challenges and then come out of it. Like when we go to give an exam in school and there is a problem in physics, so when you solve that problem, then only you have the ability to solve the next problem. If you don't solve the problem, if you're not prepared, how will you solve the problem? You have to study. When you study, you solve that problem and then you are ready to solve the next problem. In spiritual life, in human evolution also, it happens like this. If I am able to sustain some suffering, some changes, these are not suffering, the changing, adaptability, then I'll be able to withstand more. वो कहते हैं कि वो सोने को तापने से ही वो जब तक उसको आग ना लगाओ तभी वो पकता है ना. फ्रूट भी तो पेड़ में टाइम लगता है पकने में. वो भी goes through all kind of adverse weather, everything, and then it comes out ripe. So we also will ripe only when we work for it. And like Adyar में तो like बोलते हैं कि उनका vision था कि this will be a thriving place for spiritual growth. It is a nice place, I would say, Adyar. And even Stalin comes to walk every morning, evening. रोज आता है वहाँ पर, Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. 7:30 in the morning, without fail, you will see him. 5:30 in the evening, without fail, you'll see him. And he also talks. Like once I was walking, his group was walking, so I was literally walking parallel to him. No, it is not that somebody will say, no, don't walk. He's like a visitor, no, we are resident. So he also comes there. So this place will really help. So I have discussed something about fear. Why I'm not discussing too much? Because then your own self-inquiry will not happen. If I discuss everything, we can have the discussion on fear again next time. But if you have some question, then because I'm giving some food for thought to dig deep into these deceptive words. These words have become deceptive because we've been brainwashed. Comfort. Why comfort has been created? What comfort has done to the humans? In fact, I have a lot of content on my YouTube channel. I made a video on comfort, solitude, fear, trust, so many things which we have. All these things create problems. Why don't we have trust in people? Why do we fear? What is solitude? What is loneliness? What is the benefit of solitude? How do you compare loneliness with solitude? एकांत. तो ये सब चीजों को इस पे हम चिंतन करेंगे आगे भी और भी चीजों पे. So I want to stop here and probably whatever we discuss in this session, if people can go back and think about these points and if they feel that that is helping them, definitely then you can move forward and continue with your self-inquiry. And this is what is philosophy. And it has to have a mix of science in it, because if you do it analytically, rationally, what Naduji said, rationality is very important. How much rational we are, how much irrational we are, that has to be really understood. Am I talking just out of belief or hearsay, or I have really gone deep into it? Because these words have become deceptive and they've controlled us. Comfort, identity, that I have no idea how tightly it is captured. Like somebody says, I have my own identity. And now if you really think of that person, I don't want to quote that example. Yesterday, somebody told me something. I am so and so. I said, yeah, I got it. But imagine the level of control they have from these narratives, and how society is getting corrupt. So there are many challenges. Yesterday, I was also thinking something out of my book about, which I forgot, because like two books, Social Issues and Mental Mind, both are very, very close knit actually.
Comfort invites sorrow or pain.
Comfort invites sorrow. How? Why will it invite sorrow?
When you think of that comfort is not being achieved, you feel.
Oh, the desire to achieve comfort, not achieve comfort, that is different. That's a desire, unfulfilled desire, expectation. But comfort being achieved, whatever comfort you wanted. Suppose you wanted a very comfortable sofa. You go to a shop and you try to buy the most comfortable sofa. Now the most comfortable sofa is beyond your budget. Then it cannot be achieved. But suppose you buy that sofa and now you have that sofa, what will happen? All these material comfort after some time, they don't give you that pleasure, no?
So certainly.
And what it does to your body, that comfort. Do we know that the charpai is the best bed? जो सुतली वाली चारपाई होती है. But we go to buy now. I think these bed cushions are for these mattresses are for 30,000-40,000 rupees, even I believe 1 lakh rupees, and charpai is for maybe 500 rupees. And when I was in Vrindavan, there a lot of people use charpai, and a lot of people on the street. I used to watch. This is what needs to be observed. What do we observe, and what do we look at? Do I look at a Mercedes passing by in Vrindavan, or do I look at the person sitting, living on the street, roadside, cooking in earthen vessel, using a chula, sleeping on a charpai. How many of us really observe this? I used to go to a village near Vrindavan very frequently. That family became a good friend of mine. Go there in the evening from the hospital on the way back to my home. Spend my day on the charpai, sleep on the charpai, eat on the charpai. Morning, I wake up, go to toilet in the forest with them, and then go home. And I can tell you, 9 o'clock, automatic. Sleeping outside under the tree on a charpai, automatic with the bird, you switch off. You go to sleep. And what sleep? I would have never had a sleep like that. 4 o'clock, automatically I wake up. In our golden prison where we live, very difficult to wake up, no? Another 10 minutes, another 5 minutes, another half an hour, and you can keep lying till 11 o'clock. I have actually done this experiment. How long can I lie down in the bed and won't get up? It becomes 11:30 and I'm still not willing to get out of my bed. This is an experiment. And there, the nature kicks you out. Nature arrests you. You don't feel like touching the mobile phone. So whenever I went to that village, they have a big compound outside and they have cows and there is a big pond next to their house. And there are so many trees in the compound. They have toilets in the house, everything is there, but the men all go out to the toilet. They're still used to that and all fit. Then a few days back, I was talking to someone that we use transport. What was the need to travel? In fact, in my book, I've written, why was there a need to travel? Why did we need these vehicles? These farmers don't go anywhere. They just go to the farm. Morning 4 to 10, they work. After that, they're in the house, sitting in the nature. I told that farmer in your field, give me one under this tree, please put one charpai for me. I will come. I will be going to him. I will be going to visiting them. If you really experiment these, now we have no idea how does this taste. We have no idea of the taste. We have come so far away from nature that now we feel it is impossible to even feel it. We go to some resort, we'll go to the beach, we'll go to Ganpati Phule, we will go to probably Bhavali, still live in that only. We'll see the nature from far, feel very great. But do we touch the nature? I met one couple, 2004. I was in Delhi. I was working in the Navy that time. And I traveled to Kasauli, which is from Chandigarh, you go towards Shimla, and then there's a road which gets cut to go to Kasauli. So I was with my friend, he was my colleague in the Navy only. We were with family. So when we come from Kasauli, come on the main road, Shimla highway, we stopped because there was a old couple. They were in 60s selling fruit chaat. Their children have put a old Maruti van and they were sitting selling fruit chaat. So this is 2004, 20 years back. I still remember this. I can never forget this particular incident. So we were talking to them. They said we were actually, I was having blood pressure and diabetes, that man was telling. And the doctor told, go to the hills and you will not need medicine. So they said, moment we come here in 2 days, my diabetes, blood pressure goes away. So they've shifted. The son bought one small one room house and they put one broken van there in which behind the van they sit and both of them are cutting fruit and selling fruit chaat. People are coming and talking to them. They're enjoying life. And I can tell you, this is heaven. This is really heaven. One of my best moment, I'm just giving some examples of the nature living. I was in Poland. In Poland, I went to live in ISKCON temple in south of Poland, which is on the mountain. For 1 month, I lived there. So they told me, will you like to volunteer? Because there were 5-6 inmates, people living there. They were all volunteering. So I said, I will also volunteer. So if you volunteer, then they don't charge you for food and stay. Because everybody is volunteering, I said, let me volunteer. They said, what work will you do? I said, I'll do anything. So one of the tasks they gave me was to work in the field. I said, will you work in the field? They used to ask me. I was cleaning the temple also, and I was picking up wood because it was September and they were preparing for the winters. So one Russian guy was cutting the wood and you have to put the wood in the logs. And they asked me, will you work in the field? I said, yeah. I can tell you that was one of the best job I would have done in my life. That 2 weeks I worked in the field. It was a beetroot field, and there was a lot of weeds which were grown up. So I was told to remove all the weeds in that field. Every day in that cold climate, I used to go and put those boots because it's a field and plug weeds for about 1 hour, 1 hour 45 minutes, 1 hour 90 minutes, and I used to sweat there. And working in the field got me connected to the Mother Earth. And it was such a great exercise because I didn't know I was always sitting on my haunches. मैं वो ऐसे उकड़ू बैठता था, उठता था, बैठता था, पता ही नहीं चल रहा। आप सोचो 90 मिनट तक आप ये एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हो, ऐसे झुक के बैठे हुए हो, और आप वेट निकाले जा रहे हो, आपको पता ही नहीं चल रहा, और आप स्वेटिंग, यूर स्वेटिंग ऑल्सो इन द कोल्ड। वहाँ कोल्ड है, वहाँ तो अक्टूबर में पूरा 6 महीने स्नो रहता है, बस पोलैंड इज अ कोल्ड कंट्री एंड माउंटेन पे तो वहाँ स्नो चला जाता है। आई वाज स्वेटिंग, and then I'll come back and lift that logs of wood, put. I said, wow, this is what we don't realize we are missing, what farmer has. So we have this brainwashed कि कार, वॉशिंग मशीन, ये मशीन, वो कंफर्ट, सोफा, चारपाई छोड़ के सोफे पे आके बैठ गए, बीमारियां लग गई। So these are the myths. We have to bust these myths, come out of the system, understand this system from the social point of view and a lifestyle point of view. Parallelly, we have to see what are these all things brainwashed words. The whole society has been manipulated, and how these words have been misutilized, and what has it resulted into fears. Now we also have a fear of losing it, and we really don't know what is the reality. So fear को खाली समझने के लिए हमें यह भी समझना जरूरी है कि हम किसके पीछे पड़े हैं, किस पे डिपेंडेंसी हमने इतनी बना ली है, और ये हमारी आइडेंटिटी बन गई है। अगर मैं पैदल चलता हूँ, मेरी सोसाइटी में सब कार में जाते हैं, तो लोग क्या सोचेंगे, अरे यार ये तो इसके बाद तो कार ही नहीं है। मैंने अपनी कार 4 साल पहले बेच दी। मैं आई हैड 8 कार्स, मैं 1.5-2 साल में कार चेंज कर लेता था, तो मैंने तो भी कार ही बेच दी। तो लोग क्या सोचेंगे, हम आधे टाइम तो हम इसी में फंसे हुए हैं। 90%, 95% people are only stuck ki what will people think. And when you change, the right people will connect to you. When I've changed, I come to Theosophy Society, I meet right kind of people, true people who are looking at your thoughts, not at your positions, your status, your qualification, all that. Here is a gathering of intellectual people. When I went to Krishnamurti, there were even more deeper intellectual discussions. So this is what is needed in life. कि जाते जाते थिंक दैट हम मरेंगे तो मर के हम क्या, हम यहाँ से फ्री होके जा रहे हैं? आर वी बी विल वी बी लिबरेटेड? डू यू वांट टू कम बैक? आर यू गोइंग विद अनफुलफिल्ड डिजायर्स और यू आर फ्रीइंग योरसेल्फ फ्रॉम ऑल डिजायर्स? कभी हम ये सोचते हैं कि हम मर जाएंगे तो हमने क्या किया लाइफ में, किसमें फंसे रहे?
Yeah, we are living more in the artificial world.
That is what now.
Rather than a natural world.
So Naidu ji is telling that we are living in an artificial world. उस artificial world को कैसे हमें निकालना है, वो समझना जरूरी है ना. So with this, I am ending this discussion, and anyone wants to say anything? Avinash ji, Maruti ji, Preeti, आप कुछ बोलना है बच्चे? Because this talk is very blunt, hard hitting, blunt. बट मैं भी अपने को रोक नहीं पाता। मैं जब अपना लेता हूँ तो मैं इसमें कोई लीपापोती नहीं करना चाहता। जो सच्चाई है वो बोलना जरूरी है, अच्छा लगे ना लगे, बट बोलना पड़ता है, वो नेचुरली निकलता है। बिकॉज मैं तो उसको जी रहा हूँ। अब मैं अगर वो जो जी रहा हूँ तो वही बोल सकता हूँ, मैं कुछ और नहीं बोल सकता। ना मेरा कोई इंटेंशन है कि किसी को खुश करना है। तो मेरे को कभी when I have to talk, I talk very blunt. Okay, we'll stop the recording if nobody has any question. Thank you, everyone.